Right, guys, today I wanted to do an in-depth review of Chelsea, and we'll get straight into it. So, Chelsea lately have, in terms of form, not been great. It's picked up in the past couple of games, but over the past 10 Premier League games, they've actually lost 50% of them, losing 5 games. So, yeah, that's definitely not great. So that's something they need to improve on. In the cups, they went out to Manchester City away from home in both cups at the first hurdle. So the chances of that happening are very unlikely, given that it's very unlikely you'll draw the exact same tie in the first round of both competition. But that happened, and that's what knocked Chelsea out of both of them, and they are still in the Champions League and have Borussia Dortmund in the round of 16, which will be an interesting tie to say the least. But their form lately has not been good enough, hence why they are only just in the top half of the table. So that's not very good for them right now. The starting 11, I think, that is the best at the moment for them. I've gone with Kepa in goal because I think Edouard Mendy over the year of 2022 just got gradually worse and worse as the year went on. It's strange thinking that 2 years ago he was arguably, if not one of the best goalkeepers in the world, definitely up there. But yeah, too many mistakes towards the start of this season and the end of last season, I thought. In defence, I've gone with a back four. I've gone with Reece James and Ben Chilwell at full back now. I can't remember the last time these two started a game together. It feels like ages because they've just both had so many injury problems, but I think they're definitely the two best players that Chelsea could have at full back. And at centre-back, I've been impressed recently with the centre-back partnership of Thiago Silva and Benoit Badiashile. Since Badiashile came into Chelsea, he's actually impressed quite a bit and made Chelsea a lot more defensively stable since he has come into the team. So I think he is definitely right now in Chelsea's best starting 11 if I was to pick it. And then I've gone with a two-man sitting midfield of Kovacic and Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez has only played the one game for Chelsea so far in that game against Fulham last Friday. But he was superb in that game. I thought Chelsea's best player in that game by far. And also Kovacic. I know he's not been in great form lately, but he's been injured a fair bit recently, in truth. But I still think he's quality when he's, fully fit and firing. So I think that's Chelsea's two best midfielders. And then I've gone with a three behind the striker. I've gone with Ziyech on the right. Ziyech has had a strange time at Chelsea because he was signed, if I'm thinking correctly, about 6 months before Chelsea went on a massive summer spending spree, but he didn't actually join the club until that summer. And in that summer, they signed Timo Werner and Kai Havertz as well. So Ziyech was almost like pushed to the side a little bit because he wasn't like the new signing, even though he was yet to kick a ball at the club. But when he does play, he's still shown himself to be a very technically gifted footballer, and just a brilliant crosser, brilliant passer, and can definitely shoot from distance. So I think he's good enough to start for Chelsea. Mason Mount, number 10, I know he's not had his best season so far this year, but I still think he's quality. João Felix on the left I've gone with because in that game, in his debut against Fulham a few weeks ago, he was Chelsea's best player in that game until he did get sent off. But I think he will be Chelsea's best option for the remainder of this season. And then up front I've gone with Kai Havertz. Now, Chelsea have about 3-4 strikers to choose from when they're all fit. And I just think Kai Havertz, even though he is inconsistent on his day, he does offer a lot up front. So I think that's probably the best 11 I could pick from this Chelsea squad currently. I also wanted to talk about Graham Potter. Graham Potter he's been dealt a tough hand, I think, in this job so far at Chelsea, because he had to come in like 2 weeks after the transfer window closed in the summer, to a new squad like that was full of new players under a new ownership, and having to replace a manager who Chelsea fans absolutely adored in Thomas Tuchel. And that was never going to be an easy task, and it was never going to be easy for him to get this Chelsea team playing together when there was so many new signings. You had Koulibaly, Sterling, Cucurella, Wesley Fofana, Aubameyang, like loads of summer signings, and also there's been loads in January as well. So it was never going to be easy for him to like from the very off. He didn't actually make a bad start. He made a good start to his time as Chelsea manager, but it's just since sort of mid-October time, it's just gotten a bit pear-shaped, and yeah, that's been a bit of a problem that he's struggled to overcome. It will be interesting to see how Chelsea do the remainder of this season. I think they've got to give Graham Potter time personally, because he's got a good track record, and if anyone is going to do well with a young team and play, get those young players to improve, it's going to be him. And then in terms of players I think Chelsea need to sign, I've picked three. I've gone with Otavio from Porto. I just think Chelsea still lack a few options in the base of midfield. You've got Kovacic and Fernandes, who are two good players, as I've said. But then behind that, you've got a very unreliable N'Golo Kante, who I think's contract is running out anyway. You've got, as well as that, Denis Zakaria, who is, leaving at the end of the season when his loan is up. And Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who once again can be hit and miss in terms of form and also fitness. So yeah, I think they need Otavio. I think he'd suit the team well. He's a very good passer of the ball, whether it be long balls or final balls, like to set up chances for goals to be scored. So I think he would be a very good player for them to sign. Has a market value of 30 million, so definitely affordable. And then I've also picked Michael Olise from Crystal Palace. This sort of continues with the theme of Chelsea signing young players. I've picked this because even though it seems like Chelsea signed a lot of wingers, they've mainly signed left wingers, not right wingers, because on the right, the only real options they've actually got are Hakim Ziyech and Noni Madueke. Whereas on the left, they're full of options: João Felix, Mykhailo Mudryk, Raheem Sterling, Christian Pulisic. They've got loads of options on the left, but on the right, they could do with another option, given that Ziyech's future of the club is under close surveillance right now. Obviously, Olise, brilliant passer of the ball as well at Crystal Palace, and amazing at set pieces, and has a market value of 22 million. And then the final player I've picked is actually a veteran up front, because Chelsea, striker-wise, it's not great. Armand de Bruyne is out with a long-term injury. Havertz isn't really an out-and-out striker. Aubameyang, it's not really working. And also David Datro Fofana is still very young. So I've gone with Gameiro because I think if they signed him in the summer, he could, sort of do a job next season. I know he's 34, 35 now, but his finishing's brilliant, his passing's good, and his hold-up play is amazing as well. And he has a market value of 2 million roughly right now. So he's not a big risk if they were to sign him. I think it would be a very smart signing if they were able to do that in the summer, Chelsea. But yeah, to summarise it all up, Chelsea, the form's not been good enough this season, really. It was always going to be a transitional season given the amount of players they lost from last season. Rudiger, Christensen. They lost a lot of defenders. And they've lost even a few players this season. Jorginho probably being the main one. But yeah, I think that there's definitely work to be done at Chelsea right now, and it'll be interesting to see how they go about doing it.